who went through that day. We are very grateful for that. And then also just observing today is the 80th anniversary of D-Day. You know, it's crazy. I was at a coffee shop today working, and this guy came in wearing a I don't know, like some kind of N95 mask with like 2 straps and this whole thing. And I just had this moment where I was like, 80 years ago today, the men of this country were storming the beaches of Normandy to bring like freedom to people.
18 and 19-year-olds.
18 and 19-year-olds. And there's this dude. I couldn't tell how old he was because of the freaking mask, but still, like, this is the men of our country today. No offense, Stu. Stu not included. But, like, this is where we're at. I just had this moment. So, you know, thank you. A big thank you to all of those who put their lives on the line to be brave and do something that is like that. And then also one last shout out, personal privilege. It is my big sister's 50th birthday today. So happy birthday, Sadie.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
So, all right. That's
Wait, if you get a point of personal privilege, I get one too.
Yes.
Today would have been my granny and pa. It would have been their 65th wedding anniversary.
Aww.
I got a Facebook memory from when we had their 50th,
Aw.
15 years ago, and Granny's still going strong, but unfortunately, pa, passed. He passed
How
about
old
12
is she?
years. She will be 82 in August.
Wow.
She's a young granny.
Yeah.
She's a young granny, but she just went back to North Carolina for the summer last weekend. So, but yeah, 65 years. It would have been 65 years.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
That's really cool.
I don't have a personal point of privilege. But I did come across our new little plushy friend here.
Our new mascot.
our new little mascot. I thought he was so cute, and he kind of matches our little alligator that we have on the website and stuff. So if anybody wants to name him, you know, we'd love to hear some comments.
Some name suggestions.
Some name suggestions.
As
for
a
him.
gator, my mind goes to Albert in Alberta, but
Oh, I love that.
that's
So-
our mascots.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like it. All right. Well, yeah. Drop a name.
Yep.
All
Love
right.
it.
So who's got what? Where are we going tonight, guys? We still haven't qualifying's not over yet.
One more week. One more week of
One more
qualifying
week.
until qualifying ends. But
Wild
races,
Wild West.
as I said in the episode title, the races are heating up. There are
Yeah.
candidates
Oh my
coming out of the
goodness.
woodwork.
They definitely are.
Yeah.
It's been very weird because it's like the political scuttlebutt, I guess you could
Yeah.
say.
There's so much tea.
There is. So all I can say is, you know, be sure to vet your candidates. And
Jessica's broken record.
I swear this is all I've been talking about for like the last month. You know, it's
Yeah.
like vet your candidates and find out. And endorsements, just kind of take endorsement. I don't want to say don't take them seriously because there's a lot of great endorsements out there.
But there are people who pay for endorsements.
That's kind of my
Is that where
point.
you're going
Yeah,
with that?
that's where
Sorry, I
was
totally
going.
stole your thunder. No.
But I know a lot of people have come out with endorsements lately, and I'm not saying anything about, you know, anybody in particular, but just kind of be aware of what's going on. You know, certain unions, certain affiliations have certain chapters. They're not all wrapped into one. So if you get one, doesn't mean you get the whole endorsement of everything.
And I do know for a fact, especially in like unions and like the fire department and stuff like that, it's not the firefighters who make that decision. It is
Correct.
the union heads. And
Correct.
oftentimes they do not agree. So if you know a firefighter in a particular firehouse and their union or their firehouse endorsed a candidate you don't agree with, it doesn't mean that the firefighters that you know are supporting that candidate. It means that their union is telling them you have to do this as part of their union duties.
Yeah.
I was going to say, can we talk about supervisor of elections?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's so funny because our last episode we were here and I went on like a rant about how nobody's running for some of these county seats like supervisor of elections or tax collector, which is the big one.
Property appraiser.
All of those. So literally that, and I think it was that night or like the next morning, we looked and someone had filed to run for supervisor of elections here in Palm Beach County. So people are filing for things. I would just be what Jessica said is very, very true, to vet your candidates. And just because they have an R in front of their name or at this point a D in front of their name does not mean that they represent your values.
That's right. That's right.
I think we're at this point where we really cannot just go party lines in this area because it is getting funky. And the line, it's just weird. It's just weird. Like I feel like, sometimes I'm like, I don't know what's happening right now. It's in like I don't know. So so someone has filed to run for supervisor of elections in Palm Beach County for the Republican ticket.
Yeah.
So
There are 0 Republicans for any of the countywide seats in Broward. They are all Dems and 1 independent.
you
for
hear
sure.
that? You hear that? All 6 people running for.
So Broward Republicans, you have 6 days.
Get your crap together.
Get your stuff together.
Palm Beach County Republicans, I mean, tax collector, please. Tax collector, tax collector, tax collector.
Yeah. And that's
a
brand.
bad seat. You know, I mean, I'm not saying anything nice about, Democrats by any means, but, it's
How
like.
dare you? No, I'm just
Right.
kidding.
But it's like, again, if you vet the candidates, sometimes a certain type of Democrat in a certain seat isn't like, we definitely want a Republican to run
Yeah.
against them, for sure. But just make
If
sure.
they're a good Republican who understands the job that they're putting themselves
Yes.
into and know what's going on,
Yes.
because I can tell you that that's not always the case.
Right.
As a voter, your vote is like you are a human resource director.
That's right.
You are helping people find these get into these jobs and these positions. So it's ultimately up to you to make sure that your vote means something by you making sure that it means something, by vetting the candidates and not just going with the best looking sign. But there's some good signs out there. I'm not
Or
gonna
just,
lie.
like I said, the letter in front of the name. Look, you don't know. Maybe they've said things that were inappropriate and sexually harassed people at the department that they're trying to get elected to. It happens.
Well,
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying it can happen. And just because they have the letter in front of their name does not mean that they hold the values that you hold. That's it.
That's true.
That's my
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say
think,
on that.
I think I've mentioned this in a few meetings that I've been to, that I've had the opportunity to speak at, is that in Palm Beach County is that in 22 we had, I don't want to say a red wave. It wasn't a red wave, but a little
It's like
red.
a little bit of a red title.
It was like a little blurb. It was just a little bit of like it got some attention.
Yeah,
It
right.
definitely got
Yeah.
some attention. And so, and before Palm Beach County being so blue, so many people would say, I'm really a conservative, I'm really a Republican, but I had to run as a Democrat in order to win in Palm Beach County. And I think that's out of integrity and not appropriate in my personal opinion. However, is that now it's like we have a lot of Democrats that, regardless of what they were before, are now saying, well, I'm really a Republican. And so, because in the hopes to catch what they think is coming as a red wave, because we have worked so hard in Palm Beach County to kind of get our Republican candidates on the radar. And so, and Trump lives in Palm Beach County. So ultimately people do kind of pay attention to what's going on.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
And I was going to say, like, he mentioned Palm Beach County in a speech that he did today in Arizona. Not good, but he mentioned Palm Beach County.
what did he say about Palm Beach?
He said that Palm Beach County, we arrested an illegal immigrant for molesting an 11-year-old and, had to put him in jail.
But we did it.
But we did it.
So that's a shout out to our sheriff.
Right.
So, sorry. Needless to say, I mean, that's who we did it. But
right. So it's like we have problems here in Palm Beach County just like everywhere else, and just like
what? We're not perfect? Psh.
Yeah.
What about Broward? Is Broward perfect?
Broward is far from perfect.
Broward's gonna Broward?
Yes. Yes.
I was gonna say, Trump being here, I had to go up to the Solid Waste Authority, which I'll talk about later. But so I was driving on Southern Boulevard past the airport, and there's the Trump plane just hanging out there, and I was like, just hanging at the airport that
It's
I
cool to
drive by.
and
It's cool
see
to
it.
drive by it.
Yeah.
And we've taken the kids there when we've gone to the fair or whatever, and we drive by. We're like, there's the Trump plane, and they think it's like, oh yeah. I'm like, no. Nowhere else in the country is this like a normal thing that we just like
Right.
drive by and see the Trump plane. Like it's not like a thing. Like you live in like a very special place. Like this is like a cool thing. Like anyway, so yeah. I mean, this is.
It's
anyway.
not normal.
It's not normal. Which are so many things about Palm Beach County and living in Boca. The funny story. One time, my daughter was like about how I have to constantly explain to my children that the life that we live in Boca and in Palm Beach County, and they go to a small private Christian school, which is the school that they go to is very like working class. A lot of families work hard to get their kids into the school. It's not like
Right.
an elite school, but you have your families that have more money or whatever. And so I'll never forget this. This was like a year or two ago. So my daughter's 9 now. So she was maybe like 7-ish when she said this. Pipes up from the back seat. Mom, when are we going to go on a cruise to the Bahamas? That was my reaction. I was like, what? She's like, when are we going? I want to go on a cruise to the Bahamas. And she never, I don't even know where she heard the word, like, friend at school is what they did on spring break. They went on a cruise to the Bahamas. So she's like, not can we go, not like when are we going? And I was
Right.
like, let me explain something to you, sweetie. And yeah, so I feel like we have to do that a lot. I have to do that a lot. I'm like, we live in a very interesting area in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So anyway, what's happening? Were you sorry? I didn't mean to interrupt when
No,
you done. Okay.
no, you're good.
What's up in Broward?
Well, talking about Broward going to Broward, the county commission actually voted to put on the ballot in November a measure to put the Broward District Schools administration, I don't know if it's the school board, but it's definitely the administration, the district, under the supervision of the Office of Inspector General. So if there are any kind of issues, the Inspector General for the county can go in and investigate. And this was something that was recommended.
Oh, is that because of what Tory uncovered and all of his stuff?
So this was actually recommended by, I don't remember if it was the 2018 grand jury or the earlier one. I think it was the earlier one, like the 2011 or whatever.
Oh, so it goes back to that.
It was recommended by the grand jury and disregarded.
Mm.
So now
Does the county commission has the power to put it on the ballot?
correct, and the voters have to vote on it.
Ooh.
But
I
Who
like
did
that
they?
idea.
Was it highly supported? Like, what was the vote on
I would
that?
have to look at the vote. I know that Commissioner Udine was the one that was pushing for it.
Okay.
I think they voted on it. Was it just Tuesday? I think it was the Tuesday vote, and I was not tuned into the meeting, so I'd have to look up the votes. But it passed, so it's going on the ballot in November.
Huh. All right,
and,
Broward, you know what to do.
I think
them
it's
under
I think it's
inspection.
definitely a good step
Yeah.
for transparency and accountability, because I think for a lot of years the district has protected its own, and there's been some stuff going on, and it just gets swept under the rug.
Sketchy.
Maybe the
McSketcherson.
highlight of the recent events caused it to be revisited a little bit, because
Yeah.
that's very interesting.
Yeah, in case for those who don't know, really quick, since you brought that up, the Office of Inspector General, state of Florida has a Office of Inspector General that is separate, does not fall. So if you look at the org charts of like counties and governments, the Office of Inspector General is on the side, and they are there to investigate anything that could be done ethically. Usually, it has to do with money. Is what we've heard from them. Most of the time it has to do with money, which we need to call them on that one county. I sent you guys, we sent out this article in, where was Cape Coral? Is it Cape Coral,
Yeah, I
Florida?
think that's what it
Where
was.
the city council in Cape Coral, voted to dissolve a bunch of volunteer boards and then voted to give them those jobs to themselves. And they voted to give themselves like a 300% raise, like stipend. So they dissolved. So they had volunteer boards, much like many counties do. Like you were on the charter review committee
And the code enforcement
and the code
board.
enforcement board. All cities have boards that people serve on. They serve on them for free. They're not paid positions. People volunteer
I
to
don't
be
even
on
know-
them, provide their community expertise, and they provide information to the governing body. So the city council, the city commission, the county commission, whatever it is. And so this city, and I think it was Cape Coral, the city council voted to dissolve the boards, move the jobs to their own purview, and then voted to give themselves like huge amounts, like
It's
six-figure
like $3,000 a month.
month.
Yeah.
each
Yeah.
in Cape Coral, Florida.
What is
Abby's
that,
like, I
is
don't
that
even
Lee
get
County?
half that a year.
Is Cape Coral
Uh,
Lee County?
I don't know. Want to look it up?
Where's Cape Coral?
That's
Over
where
by
we're-
Fort Myers. I
Is
think
Lee
it is.
County.
Lee County's kind of crazy.
It might be. It might be.
Lee County's
Listen,
kind of crazy.
there's a reason they have Florida Man and Florida Man.
That's just crazy.
I know.
I was
I was like,
thinking-
whoa.
And we have people in Boynton Beach like throwing a fit when
Just
you
wait
know-
till.
Oh no, it's Lee County. Yeah.
Lee County's crazy.
So
That's-
that is
Are
something.
those all Republicans?
I have
then?
no
Yes. Yes.
Lee
well,
County's Republican.
Lee County is very
but
Republican.
that doesn't mean the city is.
Right.
That doesn't mean the city is, but
We'd have to look. We'll have to do a little
But
research. If
this
you
is
know
what-
anything,
this is what's going to happen. So they just voted to massively increase the payroll of the city
Mhm.
because now these are all paying boards.
Mhm.
Where's that money going to come from?
That's it, right?
They're
going to
have to raise
taxes.
taxes, and then the voters are going to get pissed off.
Yeah.
And they're going to kick them all out.
Yeah. Well, they're already like I watched the public comment from the guy who was sitting on one of the boards that they dissolved, and he was like, "We're coming for you." So I was like, "Oh, so that's something that should go to the Office of Inspector General of the state of Florida because that seems unethical. Like that seems like there's probably something icky." Fishy there,
Now,
maybe a charter violation and stuff like that.
Seems to me like it can't be totally on the up and up.
That's what I'm saying. So if it goes to the office, that's why we have the Office of Inspector General for them to generally inspect. Sorry.
Wow. Now, Palm Beach County has their own Inspector General.
That's
okay.
who the vote is gonna give it to the Broward.
Yeah,
Inspector
each county
General.
has their own, but it falls under a separate thing. It falls under
It's
a
like
state.
a constitutional officer, right?
I don't think so
Is
because
it-
they're not elected.
They're not
appointed.
elected. Yeah.
Oh, they're appointed.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought.
I'm pretty sure they're
oh,
appointed.
I thought that was for some
Well, we
reason.
should
I
know
always
this,
thought-
guys.
I know.
Abby, are you
Who
looking
did
it
They're not
up?
elected.
Who-
They're not elected.
Who deals with the Inspector General's office? Nobody, unless you're doing
the
something
head of
bad.
Inspector Generals.
But they wouldn't, for the record, I mean, they would not inspect anything during COVID, no matter how much information we gave them. They said it has to be a financial violation, so we gave them that, and they still said no.
Would he be the general of the general? Inspector General?
General of the generals, general. Real quick, I forgot to mention earlier our schedule. I'll throw it out there at the end of the show also, but just mark your calendars. We have some amazing guests coming up. So mark your calendars for June 20th will be our next episode. We're going to have Joe LaFauci, who is running, I know, Joe, who's running for, yay, he is running for state committee man.
Of Palm Beach County.
Palm Beach County, yep. Which, by the way, is an unpaid position that they have to run for
Countywide.
countywide, spend a crap ton of money to run for an unpaid position.
And they don't get paid while they do the job.
They don't.
either.
That's what I'm saying. They don't get paid
Yeah.
while they do the job. They don't even get paid mileage. I get paid mileage to be on the Solid Waste Authority board.
I saw the city of Deerfield just voted to give their commissioners like a $200 tri-county mileage allowance, I think, or like reimbursement allowance for tri-county travel.
I mean, look, when cost of gas is stupid high, you got to go to all these things. I get it. So anyway, so that's Joe. We'll get to grill Joe on all the things county, Florida government related. Party related. And then July 11th, we're going to have Lauro Diaz, who is running for sheriff in Palm Beach County. And then in August, it's not confirmed, but we are going to be doing our best to get a Broward candidate on here. So we will keep you all posted. TBD who is going to join us in August. So mark your calendars. And we have strict instructions from Lauro to come up with really tough questions. So if you have a question for your sheriff candidate for Palm Beach County, write them into us.
Yes.
I mean, believe me, we'll be able to come up with some really good ones. I'm excited. I already have them floating through my mind.
He doesn't want anybody to be weak.
No
on
pulling
him.
punches.
No.
I
So,
have faith in Josie.
but
Yes.
if you have a question, we will ask it. So
Yep.
write them into us, and we'll get those out. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there before I forgot. All right. So what else in Broward? So we got county commission. That's good.
Oh, the putting the
Putting the thing on the ballot. Any other
yes.
school board or anything crazy updates?
So we've got Republicans running. I mean, obviously it's a nonpartisan seat for now.
Till 2026.
We do have Republicans running for every seat. Well, one current board member has not filed to run yet, but if he files, I'm assuming he will file to run for the seat he currently sits in. We will have a Republican running in every seat except for one.
Hey,
Oh, that's not bad.
And that one, District 5, is like highly Democrat area. So I don't even think we had a Republican running for that seat in 2022, if I remember correctly.
So it seems like maybe the
And-
Broward School Board is shaping up to be a little more structured than here in Palm Beach County.
Oh, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. But my friend Jason Loring is running for District 3 against Sarah Leonardi. So that should be a good race to follow. He's a veteran. He's the president of Log Cabin Republicans in probably the most gay district in Broward County. So that
is
should
it Wilton
work.
Manors?
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah, wait a minute. What was his name again?
Jason Loring.
I think
Jason Lee
He
Loring.
was at the meeting we were at on Thursday night. They came in late.
What meeting
You're
was Thursday
right.
night?
You're right.
Log
we went
cabin.
to the Log Cabin Republicans
Okay.
of the Palm
Well,
Beaches
yeah.
last week.
That doesn't
And,
surprise me.
yeah, so that was a great meeting. Brian Mast was there. And it was very interesting to kind of hear things from his point of view of what's going on in the federal government.
Shh, we don't talk about federal government here.
He was the speaker.
So I
just
don't
wanna
have
give
any
him the
sleep.
shout-
I don't have enough
I-
coffee here.
So that was interesting. It was a good.
I'm
it was
sorry,
a
I'm
good.
just joking.
Yeah, it was a good meeting, a good opportunity to hear from some candidates. And
Were there a lot of candidates there?
Well, it was at Meg Reinberger's home. She's running for State House 94.
Yeah, the one that's
Yep.
got like 5 Republicans.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So it was at her home. There was a handful. There, Paige Lewis was there.
Oh.
Laura Diaz was there. Trying to think. Was
Joe
there?
LaFauci was there.
Yep. Joe LaFauci.
Well, I mean,
was
he's the
there.
head of the Log Cabin Republicans,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Meg Reinberger.
Which I said.
Right. And I can't remember if there was anybody else.
Yeah. That.
There was a few that were there and then they left.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a small little. I mean, it wasn't small, but it wasn't huge. But it was a good little meeting to kind of talk. And Brian, was very answered everybody's questions. And so definitely if you have an opportunity to go and see and meet your elected officials, another person that's really good about this is Peggy Gossett Seidman. Is to she will sit and she will answer all of your questions. And
We're going to try to have her on after the primary. So we have a few candidates lined up that we want to have on who are not in primary, who are not on the ballot in August. So we want to try to, so we'll also get to chat with her. That'll be really good. I'm excited about
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's
Yeah.
definitely someone who will answer all your questions and explain things to you and stuff.
Yeah. So it's like if you ever get an opportunity to meet, with your current elected officials or those candidates that are running for office and ask them the tough questions. Laurel said that he wanted, tough questions, but I actually hear that a lot from candidates that it's like a lot of people, sugarcoat things and not really
Hold their feet to the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I think that they would welcome that challenge, a little bit more, especially in a highly contested primary between Republicans.
Yeah.
Is when I think you kind of start to see people's true colors and how they answer those tough questions.
They want to they want the opportunity to set themselves apart from the pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, being asked the tough questions, shows that people are paying attention to you and that they're interested in what you have to say. And, it's kind of like a cycle.
Yeah.
They're asking the tough questions, you're answering them, and you're feeding off of each other and hopefully, garnering excitement about your campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
Getting
for
people
sure.
excited to go vote for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that makes, I just think that engagement makes a huge difference. So there are campaign events going on
Oh, yeah.
everywhere.
Well, so Josie and I were at Peggy's last Thursday
Yep.
night.
Oh, yes.
Um,
I couldn't make it. I got stuck at work.
it was a little more convenient for me, but I know there were several other campaign kickoff events going on in Broward County at the opposite end of the county that, some of my friends in Broward went to. And so from here on out, it's just
It's going to be crazy. So
Yeah.
you can subscribe to, if you're in Palm Beach County, you can subscribe to The Wire, which The Wire's the REC's newsletter. And most candidates, if not, I think every candidate has their candidate events posted in there. And then is there one in Broward
I'm looking at our website because I believe there is supposed to be. I believe that the candidate events are going to be on. Apparently, Jody Schwartz's events was added to the Broward GOP calendar.
Oh.
That's helpful.
Yeah. So was Bill's on the 30th.
We didn't even post it yet.
No, last month. Sorry,
Last
May
month.
30th.
Oh, May 30th. I was like, June 30th.
So,
I haven't even
yeah,
posted it
so,
anywhere. Wait, is somebody watching me? I mean, it's on
So
his
yeah,
website.
actually, there's quite a few. There's quite a few campaign events already showing up and club
So
meetings.
what website is that?
BrowardGOP.com/events.
So browardgop.com/events. And then if you go to the REC, what's the REC's website?
I think it's
Palm
Palm
Beach
Beach
GO
dot GOP, if I'm not mistaken.
Palm Beach
Yeah,
dot
Palm Beach dot GOP.
Palm Beach. So palmbeach.gop. And then they don't have, I don't think they have a separate section for events, but you can subscribe to The Wire and they send it out once a week. And in The Wire is a very nice long email.
There is a tab for events. It's
think those are-
events and clubs.
Okay.
So it has all the club meetings and
Which
events
at this
that they
point in the game, if you go to any club meeting, you're probably going to meet a candidate or
Yeah.
two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
They're all making the club round.
yeah.
So
I know Friends of Liberty, that's the Century Village Club in West Boca. They're having a candidate forum on June 25th. So they're going to have all of the candidates there. So
Like what level?
all levels,
Woo!
all candidates.
That's
going to
be a circus.
That's what she's invited. Yeah.
So, so that's one that's coming up. You do have to RSVP for that. And so if you're interested in attending that, email us and then I'll give you the information
that's a Tuesday, right?
if anybody's interested in going to that. Yeah.
7 o'clock, correct?
Yes, 7 o'clock, Century Village. You do have to be on the list in order to get into the gate. So
You have to be on the list.
you have to be on the list.
Just like when we were. Never mind.
If you're not on the list, you're not welcome
You're
in.
not welcome. You just no. All
I'm
right.
trying to think what other interesting candidate updates there are coming out of Broward. I do know that there is at least one challenger to incumbent Michelle Merrill for state committee woman.
Okay.
Mary Lopez Palma, who has headed up our fundraising and event committees in BREC since last fall. She has filed to run. So there's at least 2 candidates for state committee woman. Richard DiNapoli is the only one that's filed so far for state committee man. So
He's
we'll
the
see.
current state committee
Yes,
man, right?
he's the incumbent. Yep. So
Do you want one of our candidates? No, I'm just kidding.
So he's going to be state committee man and
city commissioner?
yeah.
Yes.
And
You can be both.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Okay.
what I just was going to ask.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I was like, hey, did
Yeah,
we
because I
send
mean, if you
some-
think about it, like Joe Gruters was a state
Yeah.
senator and the chair of the Florida RPOF.
Yeah.
And I saw this week he announced he's running for I think CFO
Yes.
in 26.
Oh,
Yes.
that's going to be an interesting race.
CFO.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
There's going to be a few people.
yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else.
I've heard names floated, but I'm not going to say anything yet. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it'll be an interesting.
There's a lot of rumors going
There's a
around.
lot of rumors and rumors that feed rumors. It's easy to get rumors started. I mean, just tell you so one thing, and then all of a sudden you see how quick it goes around the circle and comes back to you. Did you phone? Yeah, I started the rumor. I'm just kidding. Not starting any rumors, but yeah, there's a lot of rumors going around. So
And then probably the only other notable name that I saw just launched or announced that he's running yesterday is citizen journalist Chris Nelson, who covers a lot of the Broward politics, whether it's City of Fort Lauderdale, school board, county commission. He covers it all. He is running for the mayor of Fort Lauderdale
when is that election?
in November.
Really?
Mhm.
It's interesting.
Most
Does
of
he
the
have a primary?
it's
Nonpartisan.
It's nonpartisan.
Oh,
yeah.
it's nonpartisan.
So it wouldn't it be August?
No. John Herbst ran in 22 for city commissioner in Fort Lauderdale. It was in November.
Why? That seems so random.
All
It
the
doesn't
cities-
follow the logic of all the rest
All
of the
the
elections.
cities, all the cities that they're November elections. The majority of Broward cities are November elections. I heard a rumor that
What if there's so what if nobody gets 51% in the November election?
they're not runoffs. They're not runoffs.
So it's just winner take all?
Yep.
Winner takes
Oh.
all.
Yeah.
So it's very different than Palm Beach County.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Except
because
for-
our cities, you
That's
have
why
to reach a certain
You have to reach
threshold.
51.
Yeah.
Is that like
No. That's
No,
not true.
no,
that's
that's
not
not true
true.
either.
Nope.
That's
not
only
true.
school board in
No, but
August.
there it's by charter because I know
I was gonna say? Is it
it's
part
by
of your
charter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's by charter because I know in Boca that's not the case because I ran in a
But in
four-way race.
Wellington, it was
Right, but in Wellington and I know in Boynton it was because Commissioner Turkin won his race in a runoff.
Okay,
So I know for a fact it's some cities, but not all cities.
right. That makes sense.
So
That's
by
why
chart.
they didn't have a runoff in Pembroke Pines, correct? Is because it's
Yes.
winner take all.
Yes.
so it's interesting. Gotta
Yeah.
know. What's your city? What's your
Yeah.
municipality? So okay,
Yeah. So,
interesting.
so that'll be a very interesting race to watch for sure.
Which one?
Mayor
Mayor.
Fort
Oh,
Lauderdale.
Mayor of Fort Lauderdale. Sorry, I was like still on committee
I
woman.
believe.
Oh, slow tonight, guys.
I believe that because John Herbst won in November of 22 through a special election because Heather Morales stepped down, that was a special election. I think he may have to run again this fall. I don't know. I know there's several other commission seats that are up in Fort Lauderdale this fall.
So he's running for mayor.
Chris is, yes.
It's not a. It's the city manager.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, the city manager of Fort Lauderdale recently resigned, and then, like right after he resigned, it came out that he's being inspected because I guess part of the
by the inspector general.
it may have been the city inspector.
Okay. Sorry.
I don't think it was the county, but I guess one of the requirements for the Fort Lauderdale city manager is to live within the city limits, and he was not.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I feel like that's an interesting requirement. It's not required by all cities.
it's
but-
not, but I think it's. I think it
it's
is there.
good.
I
I
mean,
think it's-
because then you're close to the
Yeah,
issues.
I mean, how do you
of
know
your-
what the issues are if you're
Right.
just sitting in an office? It's like you're not living it. It's like
Yeah.
you can make decisions and then not have to live with the consequences.
It's interesting, like in Lighthouse Point, just meeting with like the different department heads and talking to people. Some of the department heads do live in Lighthouse Point, and some of them live in like Cooper City and Wellington, and
Well, we were that came
Yeah.
up at so I was at I went to the Boca Raton Homeowners Association Federated Club, which I'm pretty sure I still said that wrong. I never get the name right, Brian. If you're watching, please put the name, the correct name. I never get it right. I just call it the HOA Club, Federated
Ooh,
HOA
I'm
Club
part
in
of
Boca.
the HOA club.
HOA Club.
We're
So
a bunch of
Boca actually
commies.
does, yeah. Well, Boca doesn't really have a lot of HOAs, so a lot of them are unofficial HOAs.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the developments have like voluntary HOAs to help keep their neighborhood the way they
Oh.
want it and stuff like that. So it's like a voluntary
Yeah.
thing. So that's how they get signs, and because a lot of neighborhoods have really pretty
That's-
signs, and they do that by neighborhood. It's not
Yeah.
done by the city.
That's how it was in Fort Lauderdale. And actually, my very first dabble into politics was I was part of the board of directors for the Tarpon River Civic Association in Fort Lauderdale when I lived down there.
The
But
voluntary HOA.
it was $10 a year to be part of the civic association.
I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you can choose. Like I have friends. So anyway,
so you had to pay to be on it.
Well, no, that was just to be a member of the civic association as a resident. But all the neighborhoods in Fort Lauderdale are like that. They
Yeah,
each
they're
have
not
their own.
HOAs.
Yeah, they have civic
there's
associations.
very few. Yeah, there's very few neighborhoods in Boca proper. A lot of the HOA
Are
are
west.
west
Yeah.
or central. So I mean, there are a few, but there's not that many, and there's a few condo associations. But a majority of the neighborhoods in Boca are named neighborhoods with no HOAs.
Right.
So there's the HOA club group, though. That it's the voluntary, all the voluntary HOA heads, and it's basically like the active civic group and stuff. So they meet once a month, and so I went to the meeting this week, and Councilman Wigder was there, and he was giving an update on the city because the city just had its strategic planning session in May. So it's just like a yearly 3-day session where they come together and they talk about strategic plans and vision and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, point is one of the things he said is obviously tackling affordable housing is such a big issue. Boca doesn't have any workforce housing or anything like that. And it's a big problem because the majority of our really, really well-paid workforce don't live in the city. And not only do they not even live in the city, they don't even live like in the area. A lot of them live in Wellington. A lot of them some live in Riviera Beach because they're firefighters and they come down for their 3 days on, 4 days off
Right.
or whatever. And so it's worth the drive because they're there at the firehouse for 2 or 3 days and then they go home
Yeah.
and they get to live. They make the salary. Boca is one of the highest paid fire departments in the country. And they make the Boca salary, and then they still can't afford to live in the city, or they can take their money elsewhere where they get a lot more bang for their buck. But then that also means that we lose them sometimes because then they're like, oh well, it's just easier if I get a job up here.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, he was talking about that, and I don't know why I brought that up. Oh, just about not living in the city, and I feel like that does make a difference, especially when it comes to police and fire, because they don't have the connection to the people that they're policing or taking care of. It's really just like. I mean, and I'm not in any way whatsoever calling into question their care for the community at all. I'm just saying it's harder to have that care for the community if you're not actually part of the community.
Yeah.
And it fosters more community connection when you live in the community that you work in.
Yeah.
It's just, anyway, I don't know. I need to rant on that or a lot on that. But anyway, other Boca things that are coming up. He didn't really get into too many specific projects. I mean, he did a little bit, but ISIP, which is, if you live in Boca, ISIP is the, I don't remember what it stands for. I wrote it down, but I can't remember now. Basically, it is the redoing of all the pipes, underground pipes, water pipes.
Okay.
They're redoing all the pipes in the
Okay.
city. So they're going neighborhood by neighborhood, and shoop, and it is a hot mess. So,
Oh, I can imagine.
yeah. So when we actually moved into our house, our neighborhood was the first neighborhood on the list to do our pipes.
So they're already done?
Yeah. So ours
Okay.
have been done, but I was talking to Ashley the other night. Ashley,
They're doing by our house.
yeah, they're
Are
gonna
the
be
old pipes like cast iron?
doing, probably.
Are they like the old?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this has been a project that had
Well,
they have
most
been.
of Palm Beach County has this issue.
Yeah.
that
So Boca's
almost
being
all of the
very
cities have to do it.
proactive about
Yeah.
it. They decided this has been in the works for a few
Well,
years.
because of the issues of Delray and Boynton,
Yeah.
probably more than likely, because I think it was Boynton had a couple issues over the last couple years with their pipes, and then Delray had that whole issue with like the cross contamination
Oh,
and all of that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So I have a feeling that maybe Boca was like, hey, maybe we shouldn't kick this down
maybe
the
we
can.
shouldn't. Yeah, Boca
Or
was very
kick this
proactive
can down
about
the
it.
road, I mean.
So I mean, they started the project in our neighborhood. We moved in 2021, and they were in the process of doing it. So it started in like 2020. So
Okay.
they must have voted on it at least a while. So it's been a while. So Boca, they're going neighborhood by neighborhood. It's called the ISIP program, and you can go on the Boca website and like see where they're going and what they're doing and all the details and stuff. But it made me, as a resident, I'm like, all right, cool. Like they're being very proactive about making sure that the pipes, that our infrastructure is functioning.
yeah.
Because Boca can only grow at this point at 1.2%. We're not growing at like 10% like other
Right.
cities because we don't have the space.
Yeah.
So they're just going to try to build up, and they can't even really build up because Boca doesn't allow it. So
Yeah.
it's fixing everything underneath to make sure that we're able to handle all the stuff that's being piled on. So yeah.
Speaking of infrastructure, I got
Yeah.
one more Broward update.
Oh yeah.
So tomorrow morning around 10 a.m.,
Tomorrow's Friday. Okay.
they are imploding the old incinerator tower and building
Trash
at
incinerator.
Monarch Hill. Yeah. Like right down the street from my office.
Kablammy.
So they're
you
actually
get to feel
closing.
the boom.
Oh yeah, no, I mean they are closing Wiles Road from Power Line to the
Whoa.
Turnpike
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
because
that's
they
big.
are imploding it. Like they
Right.
have to set off. They have to
It's
detonate
gonna go boom,
explosives.
boom, boom, boom. That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to.
Ooh, video.
Go video
We'll
it.
see if I'm able to like stand out on the sidewalk because I mean you can see it like right down Wiles,
That's gonna
but
be cool.
they may clear the area.
Yeah, it's
Like,
true.
we may have to stay
Debris,
inside, yeah.
dust, and all that kind of stuff might fly around.
I don't really want to like get contaminated if there's like nasty stuff floating in the air. But
This is the old incinerator.
this is it has been shut down since 2015.
What are they going to put there?
They're gonna fill it with the garbage.
They're not going to put another incinerator.
No.
No, that would be too smart.
No, Waste Management wants to fill that area.
With landfill.
Yeah.
And what's the plan after that?
Well, they're also going before the county commission to try to get a height variance to build up an additional 75 feet. Yeah.
It's really going to be a mountain.
Yeah. So.
Oh my gosh.
more?
Well, talking about trash, yesterday I had my was it yesterday? Yes, my first meeting. I got appointed last month to the Solid Waste Authority Citizens Advisory Committee.
Woo.
Ooh.
So basically, what that means
That's
is
a mouthful.
it really is. So it's SWACAC. So basically, what this is so the Solid Waste Authority in Palm Beach County is the county commission, are also the Solid
Yes.
Waste Authority
Yeah.
people. They just reorder who's in charge. So they're the governing body of the Solid Waste Authority, which we have talked about. If you have not heard us talking about trash, you can go back and listen. Palm Beach, but if you don't know, Palm Beach County is one of the leading processes in North America on how we deal with our trash and recycling. So we have like an elite level trash process.
We recycle 80% of our trash.
Yes, and
That's
we burn the
amazing.
rest.
That is amazing.
We burn the rest, and when it gets burned, the ash gets sifted. The metals get pulled out and recycled or reused or whatever they do with the metals, and then the ash gets put in the ash heap. But they're also have a process where they are contracted with a company to do testing for ways to recycle the ash. So some of it is roads. They're testing it out on roads, and then they're also testing it on I'm going to get this wrong, like construction buildings that are not like not people that are in like build like walls that if they don't work then nobody gets hurt. It's like storage buildings, things like that.
Okay.
So something like that. And where basically they're testing it to see if they can use the ash for that. And if they can do that. So currently our landfill isn't set to go at capacity in 2050.
Okay.
But if they continue you recycling the ash, that's going to get extended longer and longer. And it could even get extended longer because the ash settles more.
Yeah.
And so they'll be able to go higher and higher, like put
'Cause it's
more
gonna
into it
settle.
because it's going to settle. And then another cool thing, the methane from that the ash gives off, they pipe that to the biosolid facility to power the biosolid facility, which was another thing that I'll talk about. So the Citizens Advisory Committee is a committee of appointed people by the commissioners to review basically the agenda and all of the issues that are going to go before the Solid Waste Authority to let them know, hey, this might be a problem or it might not be a problem. So we act as a board, like it's like a board, like a dais and the whole thing. And I'm like, okay, this is really cool. So look at the nameplate and the whole
Are
thing.
you under
Wow.
Sunshine?
They never told me if I'm under Sunshine or not. I mean, I assume I am.
I believe
But
that.
I
that's the
believe I'm
case.
under Sunshine. So
Okay.
I'm not going to say, so I can just tell you nothing crazy is going on. But yeah, I think there's a lot of cool stuff. So the agendas, it's all public information. So we have our agenda. And not only are we able to do all of the stuff that we do with our trash, but we keep our price, like they're super fiscally responsible. Like they're probably one of the most fiscally responsible departments in the entire county.
And I think they've even been known to give reductions based
They can give reductions. So and so they're paying off. They're going to be paying off like $20 million of debt to reduce our debt burden, and that's going to bring our costs. So our costs are going up a little bit in Palm Beach County, just by a few dollars, but it's not going up as much as it was projected to do because they're paying off this debt. So they're very, very fiscally responsible, and so it was really fascinating. And I was like, it was funny because I was running kind of late to the meeting. Not late. I left an hour early. My GPS tells me it's only going to take 35 minutes to get there. I'm like, cool, I'll be there plenty of time. So I'm going to get there. So I'm driving, and it says, you have arrived. And I'm like, this is not it. I know where I'm going. Because I couldn't remember exactly how to get there. I'm like, this is not where I'm supposed to be going. My GPS, it kept telling me, you have arrived. You have arrived. You have arrived. I'm like, freaking Google Maps. I'm not using Google Maps ever again. Like, it kept telling me I had arrived, and I was still 15 minutes away from where I was supposed to be.
Oh, because it's like around. It's
No, it said you've arrived, and I looked at the building number, and the building number was 2239, and my GPS is supposed to be like 7580.
Oh gosh.
And I was like, this isn't even close. Like we're not even in the same like thousands here. Like this is ridiculous. So anyway, so I got there, and as I pulled in, I was like thinking about what I was going to say because they were, they ask you to make a comment or whatever. And I was like, what am I going to say? And I had this flash, and I was like, why am I so excited about this? This is so weird. Like I feel so nerdy. But when I was a kid, my parents took me to Nicaragua when I was like 10, which this was in the 90s. So not long after the Sandinistas and the communists and the war. And it was very much hard. I mean, it still is, but it's much better now. But then it was like hardcore third world country. We would go to like villages in the mountains and bring like supplies and all this. So I was exposed to like severe poverty and severe lack of like societal structure at like a pretty young age. And it impacted me a lot in ways that I now realize why I'm so excited, because when I look at the world that we live in here, like operational structures like the SWA are the signs of a really well-run, ordered society where we care about the world that we live in, and we have the privilege to be able to care about the world that we live in.
Yeah.
We have enough comfort in our lives that we get to expand effort and energy into making sure that we keep the world around us as clean as possible, and that we dispose of the waste that we create in a like environmentally sound and healthy manner.
Yeah.
I don't know the right word anyway. So it was really like, I don't know, it was really cool. And I'm really thankful I had the opportunity to be a part of it a little bit. And I've learned already like a ton. So I'll be taking my kids this summer for a tour of the facility.
Very
That's
cool.
cool.
Yeah. So that's the SWAC. SWACAC.
It sounds like you say that, and there was like this Joe Biden clip or something the other day of him talking, and it was like hackalaka or something. That he said. I can't remember what it was regarding, but you said that,
He
and
was
that's all I could
shouting
think of.
me out for my new SWAC appointment. Squack. SWACAC. So, yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing.
So bad.
It's so bad. I'm just thinking of like him today in Normandy.
The Babylon
Oh.
Bee was savage.
They are
Did you
savage.
see
I
his-
didn't, but they are
No,
so
I
savage.
didn't.
It was
see
like Joe Biden dropped first bombs on Normandy in 80 years.
Oh no!
I was like, I'm dead. I'm dead.
That's it. We're done.
Yeah, he had to leave in like the middle of the ceremony or something.
Yes.
I'm sorry. We are not a serious
We are
nation.
not a serious nation. No, we are absolutely not. We are a banana freaking republic. Ah,
my
listen,
God.
and I saw what happened at 10 years old. What happens to banana republics when it's over? It's not pretty, guys. It's really not pretty.
All I gotta say is, when people talk about that, I can just think of one of our daughters standing in the corner and her face turning red, and then you saying something, and she's like, "No,
No, no,
No.
Hey, Yeti. Cheers.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
I have
Mine's
mine
a-
in the car."
Oh yeah, that
Or
one.
I have, excuse me, I have Jessica's in the car.
Yeah, he stole it. I need a new cup, Steve.
Steve, we need more Yetis.
If you're watching.
My daughter got a Stanley for her birthday. Not like one like
Ooh.
this, like a smaller, like normal water bottle one. So, but it doesn't hold as much water, so she doesn't use it. I think
Doesn't
she.
hold as much water.
It doesn't hold as much water as her other water bottle. She's
Right.
like, this isn't big enough, Mom. I need more water. I was like, yeah, well,
It's a good problem to have.
It
Yeah,
is.
that is a good problem. to
So, all right. So, what else, guys? What's up?
Any
We have any
chats?
comments,
No chats yet tonight.
guys?
I know.
Come on. Does that mean
People are out-
nobody's listening?
I think people are out summer vacationing already.
No.
No, we've got a few viewers. Just no chats.
If you're viewing, throw us a chat. Let's chat, guys. What do you got? Throw us some questions. We'll see what we can come up with. I mean, I can keep talking about SWCAC if you want. There's a whole lot more, but so
I'm trying to think what else is going on. I
I
mean,
feel like we're just all like kind of
It's-
holding our
it's like-
breath until
it's
next.
like it's like we're in this like little hold pattern for
Holding.
another
I
for
mean,
another week.
So that being said, I'll go back to SWCAC for just a second because it leads into budget. So we talked about this at the last
Yes.
episode, but I experienced it is right here. This is the
next
budget.
Wednesday.
So right now, what's happening? I know in Palm Beach County, they requested the Palm Beach County Commission. Here it is. Proposed budget. Palm Beach County Commission requested this year, is the first time they've done it that we know of. Instead of them coming with a giant book of budget, they are asking for each department to come and present their own budget and have discussion about each department.
Was that
budget.
what was going on after Matters Before the Public on Tuesday?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this, they had to pause
For Matters
for Matters by the Public.
by the public, not before the public.
Matters by the Public, which, yep. And then I haven't had a chance to watch it, so I know you
Oh,
guys
you
did that.
haven't?
I haven't yet.
I was listening live while I was, doing my thing at work, and I just
Did it not
as an-
disappoint?
as an outsider, as a non-Palm Beach County resident, I just listened to it, and like the commission is trying to get their point across about like what it's for and like why they have Matters by the Public and why they can't do anything about certain things because they don't fall under their purview. It's a state division of elections issue. And then the next commenter comes up and says the same exact thing. So it's just like not,
They're not listening.
yeah.
And not that I can relate because 3 years ago I didn't even know what a county commission was,
Right.
what
Yeah.
they did, how our money, we owned a house for 10 years. Like I didn't know what my taxes were going to. I didn't pay attention, I got the bill, I got mad and I paid it. So it's like now that I actually saw that there was an issue or a problem that I wanted to learn more about, I got educated and I learned a little bit more of how it worked. And so I have been shouting from the rooftops for over a year now that the county commission does not oversee the supervisor of elections. Now, they oversee the budget, but that's only because that budget is
Comes from our tax dollars.
from
that,
ad valorem taxes. And so they can't line item veto anything. And then it was very interesting because I want to give kudos to Commissioner Baxter because she actually was very clear on the difference of the constitutional officers and how the constitutional officers are basically equal. And that even if they were to scratch off her budget and say that you can't have, she could go directly to the state
Yeah.
and say,
Make them give me my budget.
And the
Correct.
state would say, yes, here's your money. Because
and
they
this
have
is
to have
what
money to run the election.
This is what the Palm Beach County Sheriff does to the commission every year, is that he wants his stuff, and if he doesn't get his stuff, he threatens to go to the state every year.
Mhm.
So, not that the supervisor of elections threatens that by any means, but it was made very clear, and I highly suggest that you watch that because it gives you a lot of insight to how and I don't mean this in a bad way, but just how uneducated our residents are, and that they see a problem and they want somebody to fix it. The fix is you with your vote. That's what
In
fixes.
Tallahassee.
And the fact is that like there is the division of elections on a statewide level that if there is any wrongdoing or any nefarious things going on,
They'll yeet the SOE.
Yeah.
Correct.
Wendy Link was appointed by the governor in 2019.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right after he was elected.
2019, and right after he was elected, he pulled us. I was one of the first things he did
Yeah.
as governor is he pulled out. Was it Teresa Lepore?
He forced Brenda Snipes to
um,
resign in Broward.
Right.
And then I don't remember what the Palm Beach County supervisor.
It was not Teresa Laporte. That's
No, I
older.
can't-
That's older.
I-
It was.
remember
Oh my
her
gosh. Ugh, I'm gonna tip of my tongue. He pulled her. He
Yeah, I
yeeted
think
her,
I
as
think
Abby's
he-
so fond of saying. He yeeted her, and he appointed Wendy Link.
Hey, we've got a question in the chat.
Yeah.
oh,
Are any of you considering running for office next election? Well, I'm
No.
already in office.
what,
so
what's
What
next,
election?
What's next election? Like August,
are you
November?
wait? Are you referring to like actual election? Are you talking about GOP elections?
I don't know.
Sean Malla?
I don't know. Sean,
Oh, Sean.
let us know.
What are you talking? Clarify, Sean. we
You
need
got to clarify
clarification.
if you mean like actually on the countywide ballot elections or city elections or
What do you-
GOP
just-
elections.
and what cycle are you asking about? Let us know. So I was going to say, so Wendy Link was appointed, and then she ran and got reelected and got elected in 2020. So that's how this works. Just to reiterate what Jessica is saying. If people coming to the county commission, the county commissioners cannot do anything about how Wendy Link runs the elections. They cannot. So you are wasting your time and everyone else's time. Now, I know that the reason they're doing it is so that they can have a platform and a microphone to try to get their information out there. I think that's why. But you're wasting the time and the money and the business of the people, of the residents of Palm Beach County.
Yeah.
Because the county commission then didn't finish the agenda. They had to adjourn at 6 o'clock because everyone had to leave.
I think they lost. Yeah, they were going to lose quorum.
They were going to lose quorum. So they were there from 9 a.m. until 6 or whatever it was, 5 or 6 o'clock, because they had to, and they do it. They sit there and they listen, but you're wasting everyone's time when there is real work that needs to be get done. Budgets. So going back to our county commission, they're asking for every department to bring forward their budget so they can have a discussion about each department, so they can really delve into the departments that they have control over.
Right. And if you would have watched the previous meeting that I spoke about, they talked about this. They talked about how certain things didn't go underneath their purview and how they were going to change matter of the public to be able to make sure that it stayed to county business. So those that want to get upset that they weren't listened to or heard or whatever, like if you were paying attention to county business, you would have known exactly what could have happened walking in there, knowing that, as it was explained by Commissioner Baxter, that there is you have to think of them as equals. That's like, like a math teacher and a science teacher, the math teacher trying to tell the science teacher science, which can be somewhat similar sometimes, but they're two separate things.
They're separate.
They're two
And-
separate constitutional officers voted by the public.
A lot of people coming in are making a big to do that it's our taxpayer money, our taxpayer dollars, my money, our money. Absolutely. So it was pointed out to me that they were requested to stay by one of the commissioners
Yes.
to stay after the meeting because they were going to be discussing money and budgets and all of these things. And and nobody stayed.
Yeah.
Nobody stayed to hear actual things that they could have an opinion on, they could talk about, that they could really understand. And not only that, but if you want to think about the amount of money, so from my understanding, I believe that the supervisor of elections budget is around $39 million. And the commission were voting on a bond to pass a bond for something, I don't know all the details, that was going to be $90 million. That's actually going to cause a bump in your taxes. An actual bond that's going to be about probably, a few cents per $100,000 worth of house. So it's not going to be a lot. We're talking $10 maybe. But still, you're talking about 30, I know it sounds crazy amounts of money, but when you're talking about like you're up there, they're up there talking about my money, a $39 million budget for the supervisor of elections when a $90 million bond was being voted on the same day.
Right.
Nobody bothered to stay, have comment on it, have anything to do with it. So that tells you that you can care about all that you want, but you need to direct the effort to the right place. Because if you actually care about the budget and you care about the things about your tax dollars, your money, then care about it fully and not just on the things that you want to grandstand on.
Or complain that we have a $7 billion budget.
It's going to probably be 8, I'm sure.
$8 billion, when actually only 23 point something % is actually comes from ad valorem dollars, and most of that ad valorem dollars are on second residences and businesses.
Yeah.
Because
not homesteaded.
Right.
Because homestead, we're not really.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna actually figure out that percentage or see if I can find it, because I think it'd be very interesting.
That'd be really good as we go through budget season.
What the homesteaded ad valorem that we get into the county. I'm telling you, it's minuscule.
It's very small.
It's minuscule.
No, you want to yell about your money? Go to the school board.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go to the school board. Because again, the county budget, let's say it's $7 billion. It's going to be a little bit more than that, but let's say it's $7 billion. Oversees everything in the county except for school board. So we're talking almost $1 billion for the sheriff. He's under $1 billion this year is his request because it's election year. So he took off a helicopter. He's $1 billion, almost $1 billion. We're talking the roads. We're talking all of the projects,
all the capital projects,
all of the capital projects, all of the
enterprise funds, the airport,
enterprise
all that stuff.
Exactly, the airport. I mean, everything.
The airport's self-funded.
All of the services that you have.
It's self-funded.
outside.
Yeah, it's an enterprise fund, but I mean, it
But
still
yeah.
falls under.
Yeah.
Still falls under.
Sure.
So all of this falls under the $7 billion for the county. The school board is just under $6 billion for one department, school. You want to yell about your money? Go to the school board.
And they're going after you in November for
An additional
for a half cent tax.
They're coming after our penny tax.
Yeah.
No. The answer is no. Oh, and they're going to push hard. Oh, that's something I was going to tell you guys too. So did anybody see, and I'd love if anybody in the audience could weigh in on this if you saw this. It was a brief thing, and I haven't had a chance to research it, but it was like a flash on Twitter or something on X, where the FEC changed some type of rule that allows for funding from outside out of country sources to certain types of campaigns. So the question that it led to, I don't know how all that works. I'm going to look into it a little more. But what they're saying is it's going to go towards a lot of the ballot measures.
Ugh.
So the vote yes, we're going to probably starting August, we're going to start seeing vote yes on amendment this and vote yes on amendment that and vote no on amendment this all over. And it's going to be funded by dark money.
Well, with everything that's going on with Trump is what they've started to realize, the opposition aspects of trying to turn us into a more globalist society, is that they realize they can't do it through stealing our elections through the voter rolls because people are paying attention.
We're cleaning up. Yeah, so they're going to move their efforts elsewhere.
So in order to get their agenda across, they're going to try to make it look pretty in certain wordings on ballots in order to, sway people to actually say, oh, you voted for this and you're going to like it.
Yeah. So pay attention to the ballot measures. There are going to be several of them, the constitutional amendments. We'll get into them a little more as we get closer to November. We'll maybe do little segments on them. Yeah. But just know that it's going to be, and tell all your friends, because they are going to push hard, just like they did in 22 with the vote yes for the housing bond and vote yes for the school board. School board got more money in 22. Now they're coming back and asking for more.
Yep.
Yeah.
$6 billion, guys.
Audit the budget that you have.
Yeah.
Make it more transparent.
All right. What
So
do we got?
Sean came back and clarified any election in the future.
No.
And also asked what my elected position is. I have 2 elected positions currently. I am a city commissioner for the city of Lighthouse Point in Broward County, and I'm also currently the treasurer of the Broward GOP. So
I don't know. My children are still little, and I every day wonder why I'm doing so much that I'm doing, and why can't I just maybe I'll just homeschool them and make sourdough and tell everyone to
yeah, that
doing
sounds.
this anymore.
Some days that sounds really nice,
Right?
Yeah.
I was
So
thinking that today, actually. I was like, I could just give this all up and I could just go to work every day.
I could just stay home with my kids and
Yeah.
homeschool them and go dig in the dirt, and honestly it sounds lovely. I can't because my conscience won't, like, I have to do something. But that being said, as of now I have no plans to run for future office. We'll see when my kids are a little older.
Yeah.
Get through these next couple of
I
election
have-
cycles, and we'll
I
go
have
from
no
there.
plan of like being an official like government office. I have some thoughts about what the future in the party looks like. I'm currently I was elected as the South County Regional Director for the REC, so I do have that elected position. But as far as anything else, I like working on campaigns and
Yeah.
kind of being behind the scenes. So
Yeah.
not that won't change, or that possibly something on the REC board coming up in November.
December.
Or December would be. I'm so used to saying November.
I know, right?
Is
Is there anything after November?
yeah,
What's after November?
Maybe a possibility, but other than that, I like staying behind the scenes and helping candidates and
Yeah.
and being more of
It's a
that.
good question, though.
Yeah, for sure.
So he had another question, and
Yes.
it's kind of relates to property taxes and budgets and all that.
Okay.
And he said, recently my mortgage went up significantly, apparently because of a deficit in the escrow, which was caused because the property was valued at a higher price. Do you know how this works? As a matter of fact, I'm a tax accountant. I do know how this works.
Yay, Abby. Yeah, ours did the same thing.
So this is what happened. So he clarified. He purchased this house in 22. When the property tax bill came due in November of 22, it was still under the old homeowner's value, taxable value, because the sale happened that year. So probably whoever he bought his house from had been there for at least a while, and so the value was substantially lower than what it got reassessed at after he purchased it. Because once you purchase a house, the fair market value resets to that purchase price, and then the property appraiser's office comes in and assesses it. So then fast forward to 2023, he gets his assessed the taxable or the property values come out June 1st, so they just came out over the weekend. And that's an important first step in the budgeting.
Yes. Yes.
The budgeting process for cities and the county and all that. So when you got your assessed or your property value June 1st of 2023, it was reset to your purchase price plus or minus a little bit. I don't know if you applied for homestead in 23 or 24, but that homestead exemption, when you get it, it caps it at 3% increase on the assessed value every year. So the way that works with your mortgage is typically once a year, mortgage companies, if you have to escrow through them to pay your insurance and your property taxes, they do this analysis, and there's usually either a shortfall or a surplus. And as of late, most people have shortfalls because their bills go up and their mortgage company was hitting them every month for a certain amount, and they get to the end of the year and that amount's not enough. And so then you have to pay the shortfall, but then they also reset the escrow for the upcoming year to the higher amount as well. So it's kind of like a double whammy. I actually had the opposite happen to me when I bought my first house in 2009 because the market was completely different. Like the people that I bought from, the assessed value was like $360,000, and they didn't have homestead. So my first year in that house, I bought it in July. The first tax bill came due in November. It was based on that $360,000 price, and it was steep. But then the following year in 2010, not only did it reset to what I paid for in foreclosure, but the property value had dropped again because it was 2010 and like the market had fallen out.
Right, bottomed out. Yeah.
So every year that I lived in that house in Fort Lauderdale, the assessed value actually went down.
Oh wow.
And it was like, and I got, I don't know if they sent me a refund check from my bank or not, but yeah, I mean, it was good because, like, you know, I was pretty cash poor after I was house poor.
House poor. I know that feeling.
But yeah, so I mean, it kind of sucks. I mean, it definitely sucks because, you know, like the bank is making sure your bills get paid, so they can't go into foreclosure. But at the same time, it's like if you're not ready for it, if you're not prepared for it, it stings.
It hit that we had the same problem, and it was really frustrating too, though, because it didn't kick in until like the second year, and we knew it was going to happen. And my husband called them after the first year and was like, "We know that I know we're gonna need to pay. Like, I know there's an issue here. When we need to pay, like, how do we start?" And they're like, "Oh, no issue. Don't worry about it. Well, we'll deal with it later. And he's like, "I don't think we should deal with this later. I think you need to tell me how much we're gonna owe. Like, what? Like, can you help? Like, no." Then they came back and hit us. Our mortgage went up $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we had to negotiate it down because we were like, we can't pay $1,500. Like, go from like in 1 month, like start paying like $1,500. We got to figure that out a little bit. So we were able to figure it out, but like it was incredibly frustrating because the year before he had asked them, he was like, "I know that there's something. I know somehow this is gonna not work right.
Well,
we want to be prepared."
It really affected a lot of people who came here like after COVID.
Yeah.
That were thinking, you know, and then they like, you know, the realtor or
think
whatever.
that our property taxes are so low.
You know, we're like, oh, the property taxes were over, you know, based on that homestead exemption.
That somebody's had for 15 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's kind of a little sleight of hand, and it's like people don't understand how that process works.
Well, I always tell people, I said, any good realtor will tell you that it's going to be 2% of purchase price. That's what you can expect to pay in property taxes. And any realtor that doesn't tell you that is not a good realtor.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point.
So hopefully, does that answer your question, John?
Hopefully it does. And it sucks to be in that situation, but
icky thing.
Well, we are coming into election season, and I want people. There was something that I've been noticing online. All of our Democrat representatives are out handing out checks.
Who are they handing checks out to?
To the communities. They're like,
it's the money they bring home from Tallahassee.
Yeah, so it's like,
they're doing the big check.
The big checks,
But they're not bringing any money.
That's the funny thing, and
that's the funny thing.
They're taking credit for stuff that Republicans have helped them get passed.
What?
Yeah, especially if they were co-sponsors on bills and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, our congressional candidates, or our congressional people, you know, like Moskowitz and Frankel are famous for this. This is the biggest thing that I talk about all the time. Is I'm like, Democrats get reelected because they go out into the community and they talk about the money that they're able to get back, and that they're able to, you know, and all of these community services and good deeds that they've brought back to the county. But then nobody who votes for them actually checks their voting record of how they're actually voting in Congress.
When they're just lockstep with the squad or whatever.
Yeah, or their comments, or, you know, the way that they talk to other representatives that are supposed to represent us. They, you know, so it's like people only pay attention to that little bit and go, oh, this representative is so great because
Lois Frankel, she's so cute. She's like a grandma. She comes and brings us all our money.
And she will screw you over for $1. I guarantee
she
you.
She got the deputy chief something of the police department in West Palm Beach fired.
Oh, yeah.
Did you hear that one?
You can't.
I think I did.
You can't do anything in West Palm Beach without Lois Frankel's permission.
That's crazy.
I just remember 2 years ago when they ran. That was the last time they ran. Right?
When she tried to get that pizza place shut down.
Yeah. The pizza place said, "I'm not taking that sign down." And
they had a sign for one of the other Republican candidates up, and she lost her mind.
And they videoed it.
Yeah, and they videoed it. And went all over.
She still won.
She still won.
So just pay attention. So if you are watching and you have friends or family that are Democrats and that talk about like, oh, but she just did this whole community outreach about falling, and, you know, we couldn't have done it.
Falling, can't get up.
We can't do it without her.
Abby's so confused. She passed this bill. They passed this. They got this money for this program to bring awareness about people falling.
So they do Tai Chi and they do balancing, some type of balancing exercise.
I'm not minimizing. Not minimizing that this is an issue that elderly people do fall, and it's like the biggest. But this is what she comes down here, promotes this program, goes to all of the community things, Delray Alliance, all these did Cobra, and tells them, oh, look how great she is. And then they're all distracted by like going to these no falling seminars, and she goes up to Washington and votes to stab us all in the back, keep the border open, raise our taxes, and all kinds of crazy
and blame Republicans for everything that's terrible
Give all
in
our
the world.
tax
But I will
dollars to
say, I
Ukraine.
was when I was at, I was talking to someone, and a Republican graciously allowed a Democrat to co-sponsor a bill, and then when the bill passed and the money came home or whatever, that Democrat was taking all the credit for getting the bill passed.
They do that, and then
Yep.
they also go and endorse the Republicans' opponent publicly.
Yes.
Yes.
So they act all buddy, beg them. I'm not going to name any names, but they beg
we
them
should
to
call
go.
them out on this.
Should we
crap.
call it? Okay. Should I do it? Should I do it? Should I do it?
You
I'm
should do
tired
it.
of this.
All
I'm
right.
tired of it.
So Joe Costello begged Peggy Gossett-Simon to go on a bill with her, and not just like to co-sponsor a bill, not just be on the bill, but like to co-sponsor the bill. Begs her to co-sponsor the bill, and she says, "Okay, yes, sure, let's do it." And now he's publicly endorsing her opponent, and she's like, "Cool."
Yep.
Okay. So why does she do this? Why do we keep doing this? We keep extending the freaking olive branch, and they keep biting us.
Well, because when you're dealing with, I mean, Peggy is a great, nice, loyal, dedicated person to the community. So all she does is she just wants to help make sure that the communities are taken care of, whether it's Boynton Beach, Delray, or Boca Raton.
Which, by the way, are not her district.
Correct.
Yeah, right.
So it was even, so we don't realize how shady and shifty that these people are until you start to uncover.
And listen, not all Republicans are coming up
No,
smelling like roses.
no,
Tallahassee is a
they-
hot disaster.
They can be.
with Republicans
Some of them
too.
can be just
Even
as bad,
closer to home.
or worse.
Close, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, look,
Well,
people
city,
are people.
City of Boca. They did a proclamation against gun violence, and
Yes.
and,
Oh, yeah.
and it was an activist group that is actively coming after Peggy Gossett-Simon.
Yep.
And the mayor of Boca Raton,
Who's a Republican.
took a picture with Peggy's opponent and the activist,
Icky,
and posted it on the
sticky.
city website, I believe, or the city
Social
Facebook.
media, yeah. Icky, gross. I mean, listen, don't get me started on
We had a
Boca.
proclamation last week for National Gun Safety Awareness Week or whatever it was. And I don't think anybody actually showed up from the organization.
No.
But then I was in City Hall today for another meeting, and I looked into the commission chambers, and there's a desk at the back of the commission chambers that they put like the agenda handouts on and stuff. And there was a whole row of gun locks. So apparently somebody had come by and dropped off the gun locks that they usually. So last year when I was at that commission meeting, sitting in the back like I used to do, the woman.
She got an upgrade to the
I
front.
have to sit in the front now. Wah, wah. I'm a back row Baptist. What can I say? The woman who ran against Chip LaMarca the last two cycles, Linda Thompson Gonzalez, is that her name? She was heavily involved in this organization, and she came last year and gave each of the commissioners a gun lock for their, supposed firearms at home. But they were all just lined up on the back table.
Look, gun safety
I did notice them
awareness.
there last
It's a
week at the
good-
meeting.
It's a good thing to talk about, gun safety awareness.
We all want everyone to be
We all
safe
want
with their
everyone to be
guns.
safe. So they could have easily done this by talking about actual safety, not having organizations come in that are actively anti-gun and want to remove our Second Amendment right. Like, that's the crazy
Right.
part. Like, they could have done a proclamation on gun safety.
Yeah.
And we all want gun safety. We all promote gun safety. Any responsible gun owner, which is pretty much any legal gun owner,
Yeah.
is going to promote safety with their guns. They know how to handle them. They know how to store them. They know how to keep them away from children. Like, we know how to do all these things. So, I was going to say, since you mentioned Chip LaMarca, I forgot that Councilman Wigder mentioned, okay, I hope I don't get this wrong, but he was talking about a glitch bill. I think it was the glitch bill for the Live Local Act. I guess there was some type of bill that they did pass or something, or that they were working on getting passed. I don't
Okay.
know, something. And Chip LaMarca said that if it was not that bill, it was another. It was some type of bill that our lobbyists, our city council people, and our lobbyists in Boca were like pushing hard in Tallahassee, and they passed it, and they called it the Boca bill because Boca was pushing so hard for it. And I want to say it was that bill, the glitch bill, but I'm not 100%.
Why were they pushing so hard for it? What did
Because Boca has very strict like density and density rules, and we don't have the space. Like we don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the space to build, and so like we were like, this is not going to work. This is not going to work for us. We have very strong height, like as a community, like coming in and telling us, no, you must have a building that's 20 stories high in a city that doesn't have that is not. No. So they called it the Boca
They don't
Bill.
even have signs up in the air.
No, we have one billboard that is a grandfathered in billboard by the mall. We don't have billboards.
They
They try to take it down all the time.
every year. They try to take
Where
it
by
down.
the mall on Military?
No.
Glades
By
Glades
Cheesecake
and Butts.
Factory.
Blades and butts.
Okay.
Glades and Butts.
You said Butts Road.
Butts Road. It's the one billboard that's been there for like
Ever.
40,
Yeah.
50
Yeah.
years, and it's the only billboard in the city. So no
Wow.
billboards, and we have nothing higher than 12 stories. It's supposed to be 10, but we do have variances for a couple of things,
Well,
except
that
for the
was,
tower.
When we first moved here, or not moved here, when we first visited, when Jessica had an interview, I'm like driving around trying to find a Wendy's, and I can't find usually. Like
Oh
Michigan-
yeah, they
Michigan,
blend
they
them
always
in.
have the signs
yeah.
up in the air where you can see it.
No,
and
no
it's like,
signs.
It took me like an hour to go get Wendy's. It's like
There was
crazy.
around the corner on the backside of the hotel.
Yeah.
No, that's because Boca used to be called a city within a park.
A city
yeah.
within a park.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
That was the
could see that.
tagline. Like,
Oh.
you know how like Delray was like Village by the Sea or whatever. So
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Mm-hmm. It was called City Within a Park.
Fort Lauderdale, the Venice of America.
Is that what it? Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh.
Yeah.
I do. There are some good canals
Um,
there.
Belglade. Her fortune is her soil is her fortune.
Whoa, I
Yeah.
like that.
Muck City, baby.
I'm thrilled.
You ever see like when the Glade Central is it Glade Central? Yeah. Glade Central high players, like the football players that get drafted. Like there were some that played for like Ohio State back in the day and whatever. And I just remember watching like bits of the draft one year, and like one of them got drafted, and they had a Muck City like hat on, you know, representing Belglade, man.
Belglade. Listen, that's where that
Pahokee,
Belglade
too.
feeds us. So
Belglade and
Pahokee,
Pahokee.
feed us.
Yes.
So
Yep.
we could feed ourselves. That's
Yeah.
the whole thing.
In Michigan, where we're from, we lived in a small town called Hudsonville, and it was the salad capital of the
Yep.
world.
The salad capital.
Salad bowl, right? Salad bowl.
Was it
Why?
the salad?
I think salad bowl.
Because
Was
they
it the
grew so
salad
much
bowl?
there?
It's like all like
It's
crops and fields
it's what
and
you call muck
vegetables.
farm. I mean, basically,
Yeah.
it was.
Oh, yeah?
muck.
Yeah.
You know, it was
Those are the muck of the north.
Yeah.
same with Byron Center. It's like,
Yeah.
They have
Do we have
all
any other
muck farms.
comments?
Sean just said great show. He
Thanks,
did
Sean.
ask how you negotiated. I mean, I'm assuming you had conversations with the bank, with your lender, to negotiate.
Oh, I don't know my husband. I'll talk to you.
I
on the
would-
side.
I
I don't know.
would
My husband
suggest-
negotiated with them.
I would suggest if you feel that your house is like over assessed, like
yeah,
the
you
value,
can go to the property.
you
appraiser.
can go to the value adjustment board of the property appraiser. And I will tell you that I know of someone in Miami-Dade County, an individual, like a residential, went and actually hired somebody to represent them. To they took a cut of whatever the reduction was, but saved them several $1,000s at least.
So yeah, so if you think it's the
I
property,
think 2,000 in property
if
taxes.
you think
yeah.
it's the property value assessment, go do that. If it's just that they're hitting you and you can't, like, it's hitting your budget hard, like I think my
It's
husband
just caught up with you.
Yeah, my husband just called them instead of because they basically wanted us to pay back and like create the better balance within a year, and he was like, and it would have come down after that first year.
Okay.
So he basically got it negotiated to where we're doing it over 3 years,
Gotcha.
and then it will drop off and go back to like a little. I mean, not as low as it was before, but
Have you guys seen like what the property values increased by?
9.9.
Is it 9? That's about the same for Broward. Okay.
yeah, I know that we are hitting the 3% cap.
For you personally?
They said that almost every
Yeah.
property in
Oh,
Palm
I
Springs is
gotcha.
hitting the
Yeah.
3%
Yeah.
cap.
Anybody who's
homesteaded.
who's homesteaded will max out at the 3%.
Right.
Most will max. Some might not max out at the 10%.
Yeah.
depending on
Depending on the value.
Is that
the
the
city.
the 10%'s on the commercial?
the rest?
commercial?
rest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The
Everything
rest.
else.
Yeah, I think Broward County as a whole was around 9 and change, and City of Lighthouse Point specifically was over 10.
It'll be interesting to see what this
Wow.
next year holds because I do think that the market is cooling, and so it might.
Homes are
temper
sitting
out.
on the market
Homes are
longer.
yeah, there was a house that went on the market. I might have even talked about this, so if I did, I apologize. On our near us, I mean, we live facing I-95, and the house down the street went on the market at 3. I'm sorry, 3. 7.
I was like, really?
It was a 3-bedroom. Jessica's like, "Hey, I'll live by you." I was gonna say it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, like renovated, but no pool, very small yard. House went on the market at $795. and it's still sitting the sign out. If you look online, it says pending, but it's been pending for a long time, so I don't know if it'll go through. There's another house not too far from us that I saw went on the market. Theirs in a better spot. Oh no, that was not far. In Boca Square is on the market for $975.
Wow.
Now that one fully renovated, saltwater pool, like
Yeah.
not facing I-95.
Well, with
But-
the rental market, it's staying more steady. So there's not a whole lot of increases or decreases. There's
Steady's good at this point.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, there's never going to be a decrease when it comes to the rental market.
Not
in
unless
my
everything
opinion.
goes kablammy.
Right. So it's
God forbid.
it's leveling off a little bit. So you're not seeing those. Because I know from 21 to 22. Our, like the average rents were going up like almost $1,000 a month.
Mhm.
And so now it's like, like we are able to renew our lease. He's not raising it at all.
Oh, that's
You know,
good.
Good for you guys,
So,
yeah.
and so I've noticed in checking around, just in case, we got an increase, I wanted to see what was out there and pretty, in the Boca Del Rey area, pretty steady. So, I think that's
I
good
was looking
news.
at some houses so I have some friends who are moving and they're looking for rent. So I see signs up in my neighborhood. So I like to know what's going on. And like there's houses for rent in my neighborhood, like not that are like full houses, not multifamily, for like $3,500.
That's not bad.
So so that's like, okay, that's as crazy as it sounds. That's just normal.
Yeah. My neighbor 2 houses down from me listed their house while I was on the cruise, and they're trying to get $860 for 3.2 under 2,000 square feet on a dry lot.
Wow.
Sounds like what is happening. Yeah, because
been
Lighthouse
on the-
Point and Boca have similar.
It's been on
prices.
it's been listed for 25 days. So
So before they were like flying off the
Yeah.
shelf.
I have noticed, because Stu is over 55, so that's always an option for us.
It still look good.
That's right.
That's right.
So, but like the 55 and older communities, their prices have dropped actually.
Oh, really?
Like $15,000 to $20,000
To buy.
to buy.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like, they were about
Century Village, here you come.
Yeah, exactly. It was like 200, for Century Village type communities, prices were like up towards like $250,000
for those.
So that's a lot.
And then they're getting them renovated. I know
Right.
a lot of people who do work
Yeah.
in those
So
units.
now you can find some decent, like fully renovated for
Oh.
like 170, 180.
Century
So-
Village, here you come.
It's an option.
what's the
option.
monthly condo fee though?
Some of the assessments depending because of depends on the height
On the
and,
building and all that. Yeah.
and all of
Yeah,
that kind of
the
stuff.
all of the new things.
Right, and like if it, there were a couple that like a certain section had a new roof put on, so the assessments were like over like $1,100 a month. But then after 2026, it supposed to go down to like
Drop again, yeah.
600, 700. So on average, there are I think normally for the HOAs for those type of things, they're around like I'd say probably $600 a month for your
That
HOA.
seems so high.
But if you consider what the mortgage is,
Yeah.
it's really comparable. Like you can rent without, you can rent in those communities, 2 bedrooms, 2 bath for like $1,800 a month.
Yeah.
So if you're over
But
55,
but you have to meet the
right, you have to be over.
Do both
55.
of you have to be over 55?
No,
or
only-
just one of you?
only one.
Just me.
Just you. Hey, I married younger. It's going to be a while for that to happen.
So I'm just saying, like there's options.
Just saying.
There's just, there's some options. At least it's like it gives you, at least for somebody my age who's 46, it's like,
Like how you to like throw that out
yeah,
there.
I want to make it very clear I'm not over 55.
That's why I said I was.
is that it's like, okay, that's a little bit as you start to age, that's a little bit more affordable and doesn't make you like freak out that you're going to be, like in the homeless shelter at 80 years old trying to pay your rent.
Oh Lord.
I was actually having a conversation with someone today though about seniors on fixed income where these big huge condo assessments are coming down, and it's like
Tallahassee does not ask the and then what question. question.
But I mean, yes, I agree 100%. But like these condos kick the can down
They
the road.
did,
Yes.
absolutely.
I mean,
Well,
some of
cities, the cities do it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was actually very impressed that
Yeah.
Boca was like taking on the water pipe situation
Yeah.
or our pipe situation.
But you know,
early
it's
on.
like at some point, yeah, you know, it's very painful right now.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, and it, you know, it sucks. But at the same time, it's like you've got to course correct, or like we're gonna have another Surfside. You
Right.
know.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah, that's why we got to vet our candidates.
Yes.
and make sure that when
Including
they come,
condo board. People.
Oh, yeah.
Condo
Let's-
board
let's just
members,
start
HOA
there.
members. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it was very interesting. Did anybody hear about the thing that was going on in Delray about the Pride Street thing?
yes,
Oh wait, it was
we should
where
talk-
the person defaced the painting in the street, kind of like in
Yes,
Fort
yes,
Lauderdale.
that they
yeah.
want to charge him with a hate crime.
They're already charging him with a whole. He's already been arrested. They're charging him. It's not showing any signs of backing down, and they repainted and expanded it
Yep.
in Delray.
Yep. So
They're
even,
using tax dollars to do
so
that.
so a Republican mayor was elected, an MPA council, is it a commission or a council?
Commission.
It's commission. And an MPA commission, and still this is the type of thing that are
That's
happening.
because it's city managers.
That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, so what is it like? The wheels of government grind very slowly. So like, is it a
Yeah.
matter of like the commission just hasn't like gotten its act together to push back on
Probably.
this?
That's my
Yeah.
guess.
Well, somebody had to approve for the
Repainting.
repainting of it.
Depends on.
Probably the city manager, though. So if
Yeah.
you're listening, Delray.
I know, like in
Let us know.
Lighthouse Point, the commission only has to approve projects over a certain threshold. So, I mean, I find it hard to believe that painting project would be
Very expensive.
tens of thousands of
No.
dollars, even.
Right. It's probably not very
So they probably
What would we
didn't
call-
approve.
expensive.
It probably didn't go. Nothing.
go before
Nothing
the city.
related to the case or the whatever you want to call
no,
it.
no.
Probably went before the commission as of yet.
Yeah, but this guy needs to be pardoned immediately, and the city needs to drop the charges immediately.
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
is if
that
it-
should happen.
that should be able to be happen through the county or through the city commission
Yeah.
of like,
Yeah.
we're not doing this, and this is something that we're not going to stand by in the future to have done, because I think it's ridiculous, and
It's
we had-
ridiculous that they
when-
painted it. It's ridiculous that then they're charging someone for defacing it.
when they have the capital project issues that they have, when they're not properly run, they have the administration issues that they have in Delray.
Massive water problems.
And what was her name that got no, that was Boynton Beach,
That was
wasn't
Boynton.
it? That got
Yes,
that,
Boynton Beach.
Yeah. So but anyway, in Delray, they've had a lot of capital issues. They're lacking funding in a lot of
They've
issues.
kicked the can down the road on their water thing for years. Their water treatment
Exactly.
plant was built in
But
the
yet
60s
they
and
can
hasn't been
find
touched.
the money and they're like, this is the most important thing in the city of Delray
to pay to pursue this guy.
for
yeah.
June. To make sure that the road is painted.
So, well, I mean, that just goes back to the whole thing of like, mismanagement of government funds, mismanagement of money, and that this is even the fact
Mismanagement
that
of
they're-
time.
mismanagement of time and
Yep.
energy, and this is also the priority of it's a religion, defacing
Yep.
defacing this and like doing something to this flag that they feel is not appropriate, even though you can't prove that he did it on purpose. They have a video, but maybe his car stalled out. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, really and truly. Like,
Maybe.
you're really going to go after the guy for having his car stall out right there? Come on. Come on. I call bull. Thank you. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All
So that's something that's it's actually getting a lot of national news.
Yep.
Um,
Especially because it's Florida. Anything Florida gets
Yeah.
national
and
news
I
now.
think he's getting represented by Anthony Sabatini. If
I
I'm
think
not
I heard that
mistaken.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sorry. Yes, he is. He's getting represented by Anthony Sabatini.
So because of he's getting represented by that. It's getting a lot of national.
It's going to get national attention.
a lot of
Well, again,
national
anything
attention.
it's June. It's that month. I'm not even going to say the words because, and it's that's what's going to get. And it's Florida, and it's I mean, everything.
I was assured that you could not say gay in the state of Florida.
Abby, you're going to get us arrested.
Isn't there a bill for that?
Didn't they say that? They're gonna get Broward County. They're gonna come pounding on our door.
DeSantis is going to be at my house when I get home now.
Oh no.
Man.
All right, I know you're about to wrap up. Just a reminder, June 20th, Joe LaFauci, and July 11th, Lauro Diaz are going to be joining
Yeah,
us.
so make sure if you have any questions for our upcoming guests, make sure that you put them in the chat when we go live, or send us an email. You can email us at wethelocalsfl@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts about our episodes and anything that you would like us to know or check on for future episodes. Be
or
sure to
any
email
fact
us.
checks or corrections,
Yeah.
let us know.
Do you have anything to finish up there, Abby?
I don't think so. I think I spoke my piece tonight.
It's cathartic. We all go home feeling better. Or just riled up. I don't know. It's one way or the other.
So be sure to check us out on Instagram at We The Locals FL. Check us out on X at We The Locals FL. Facebook, We The Locals. You were also on Spotify. Did you get the Apple podcast?
No, the website wasn't
Okay.
cooperating
Okay.
today. But you can catch us on Spotify for all your podcast needs.
Yes. And be sure to check us out online. You can donate, check out our sponsorship opportunities. And like, share, and subscribe. You can. Our website is wethelocalspodcast.com. Like I said, just have a great night, everybody, and be sure to stay local.
Bye.
Bye.